Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Big setback awaits Coco Gauff ahead of US Open if Iga Swiatek wins Cincinnati. It looks like the tables are turning just ahead of the US Open. While Iga Swiatek lagged behind the likes of Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff for the bulk of this season, she's slowly but steadily closing down the gap. The Pole recently won the Wimbledon Championships and is going strong at the ongoing Cincinnati Open. Swiatek is into the semifinals of the tournament and is looking good to continue her winning run. Moreover, she could be in for a massive upgrade at Coco Gauff's expense at the US Open. While the Pole is into the last four in Cincinnati, Gauff suffered a shock loss against Jasmine Paolini. In the quarterfinal battle between the two, the American sensation began the match on the front foot, but lost the momentum to surrender the next two sets to bow out of the tournament. With this loss, she has given a chance to Iga Swiatek to overtake her in the WTA rankings. According to the live WTA rankings, Swiatek is trailing Gauff by 736 points. The Pole is currently in the third spot and can overtake Gauff if she manages to win the Cincinnati Open title. If Swiatek wins the trophy there, she will reach 7,933 ranking points, ahead of Gauff's tally of 7,669 points. However, this isn't the only boost that Swiatek would get if she manages to win in Cincinnati. The Pole would also attain the second seeding at the US Open, avoiding a potential clash with Aryna Sabalenka till the finals. This could prove to be a huge boost to Swiatek if she manages to win her next two matches in Cincinnati. Meanwhile, Swiatek is reaping the success of hard work after a tough start to the season. Although she failed to win a title for over 12 months before achieving success at Wimbledon this year, Swiatek never lost her belief and came back strongly to be back to her best. Additionally, the Pole herself admitted to putting on a good show ahead of the US Open. Iga Swiatek delivers a candid take on her performance. Leaving aside her slip-up at the National Bank Open, where she lost in the pre-quarterfinals, Swiatek has been delivering some strong performances lately. Take the example of the Wimbledon final, where she blanked Amanda Anisimova 6-0, 6-0 to win her maiden title there. Moreover, Swiatek is yet to break a sweat at the Cincinnati Open, winning every set en route to her semifinal appearance. Yesterday, Swiatek had a confident win over Anna Kalinskaya and compared that performance to her Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships loss against the same opponent. Swiatek said, "For sure, the match was much different from last year. I'm really happy that I was proactive from the very beginning. I could play my game. It wasn't easy, so I'm happy that I was solid and that I had enough intensity to put on the pressure. There's no secret. I just drink water. Honestly, we kind of need to get used to it with how the world is changing. It's going to get worse and worse, I guess." The Pole will now face Elena Rybakina in the semifinals of the Cincinnati Open. All in all, it looks like some promising times ahead for Swiatek, and she will definitely be one of the hot favorites in New York. A storm before the slam. Big setback awaits Coco Gauff ahead of US Open if Iga Swiatek wins Cincinnati. By your name. As the August sun scorches down on Cincinnati's hard courts, the stakes are rising higher than the temperature. The Western and Southern Open, a cornerstone of the US Open series, is winding into its final days, and with it, a brewing storm threatens to shake the very confidence of America's rising star, Coco Gauff. The shadow cast. None other than world number one, Iga Swiatek. Though Swiatek's name has been at the summit of the WTA rankings for over a year, it's the psychological implications of her potential victory in Cincinnati that have quietly crept into the conversation. For Gauff, currently riding a wave of momentum and fan-fueled hype ahead of the US Open, Swiatek's dominance in Ohio could deal a critical blow. Not to her game, but to the one asset Gauff can't afford to lose belief. A tale of two arcs. Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek have shared the same courts, same age group, and the same generational spotlight. Yet their trajectories have taken notably different routes. Gauff burst onto the scene in 2019. Stunning Venus Williams at Wimbledon and becoming an overnight sensation. Swiatek, more methodical and composed in her rise, stunned the world by winning Roland Garros in 2020 as an unseeded teenager. Since then, Swiatek has developed into a powerhouse, collecting titles and remaining remarkably consistent. But where Swiatek has built a foundation of dominance, Gauff's journey has been more turbulent, electric highs, followed by painful learning curves. Now 21, Gauff is no longer just a promising teenager. She's a Grand Slam finalist, 2022 French Open, an Olympic hopeful, and a cornerstone of American tennis. But she also carries a burden that's not just physical or technical, it's emotional. It's the weight of a country's expectations, amplified by the comparisons to the Serena Venus era and the ever-growing question, when will Coco win her slam? The Cincinnati Crucible. The Cincinnati tournament is more than just a warm-up for the U.S. Open. It's a proving ground. For Gauff, reaching the semifinals is already an encouraging sign, especially after recent coaching changes and an improved forehand under the tutelage of Brad Gilbert. But looming large in her bracket, and in her mind, is the possibility of a final showdown with Iga Swiatek. They're head-to-head. Brutal. Swiatek leads 9-1. Most matches haven't just been losses, they've been routs. In the 2022 French Open final, Gauff looked emotionally overwhelmed, struggling to find answers. In Dubai this year, it was another straight sets masterclass from the pole. If Iga were to lift the Cincinnati trophy, possibly defeating Gauff again in the process, the implications extend beyond the trophy ceremony. The psychology of dominance. In tennis, talent is table stakes. What separates champions is often invisible. Mental toughness, inner belief, and the ability to deliver under pressure. Gauff has shown incredible resilience throughout her young career, but the Swiatek problem has become more than a statistical blip. It's bordering on a mental block. Sports psychologist Dr. Lydia Karnowski puts it plainly. When a player keeps losing to the same opponent, especially on the big stages, the mind starts building a narrative. I can't beat her. Once that takes root, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Gauff isn't alone in this. Many greats have had a personal nemesis. Think Andy Roddick versus Roger Federer, or even Maria Sharapova versus Serena Williams. Talent and hard work weren't always enough to overcome the mental mountain created by repeated losses. Should Swiatek win Cincinnati, especially with Gauff in the field, it plants another seed of doubt. And heading into the cauldron of the U.S. Open, on home soil, with all eyes on her, the last thing Gauff needs is the ghost of another Iga beatdown haunting her serve toss. The U.S. Open pressure cooker. Arthur Ashe Stadium has seen its share of drama. For Coco Gauff, it's sacred ground. She grew up dreaming of winning in New York, in front of roaring American crowds. Last year, she made a deep run. This year, the expectations are nuclear. The stars seem to be aligning. Naomi Osaka is still on the comeback trail. Aryna Sabalenka has shown cracks in consistency. Elena Rybakina is dangerous but streaky. If Gauff can avoid an early round hiccup, she could go far. But what if Swiatek is in her path again? Worse, what if Swiatek arrives in New York fresh off a Cincinnati triumph, brimming with confidence and tactical clarity? In that scenario, the dynamic shifts. Gauff would be the underdog again. And underdog status only fuels pressure when you're expected to win. Swiatek winning Cincinnati wouldn't just give her momentum. It could carve a mental wedge right through Gauff's U.S. Open campaign. Gauff's counterpunch, reinvention. But here's where it gets interesting. Coco Gauff isn't the same player she was 12 months ago. Her forehand, long considered a liability, has been sharpened. Her serve has gained precision. And more importantly, her mental game, while tested, seems sturdier. In Washington and Montreal earlier this month, she showed grit and maturity. She's no longer just a teen prodigy. She's building into a champion. I've stopped caring about what people say I should be doing, Gauff said after her quarterfinal win in Cincinnati. It's about finding my own rhythm. Should she meet Swiatek in the final, it could be the moment she reclaims the narrative. Beat Iga in Cincinnati, and it erases the ghosts. Lose, especially in lopsided fashion, and it could be a dangerous crack in the armor heading into Flushing Meadows. What's truly at stake? To say that a Cincinnati loss would ruin Gauff's U.S. Open chances would be overly dramatic. After all, she's more than capable of bouncing back. But Swiatek lifting the trophy in Ohio would set a tone. One that says, I'm still the boss of this generation. And that's where the real setback lies, in the psychological ground Gauff could lose, even before the U.S. Open begins. A Swiatek win would tighten the rankings. It would reaffirm her grip on the #1 spot. And most importantly, it would remind the WTA Tour and Gauff that beating Iga on hard courts, even in America, remains one of the toughest tasks in tennis. Final serve. The beauty of tennis is its unpredictability. One moment, you're on the ropes. The next, you're a champion. For Coco Gauff, the next few days could redefine her trajectory. Will Cincinnati be the launchpad to her first Grand Slam? Or will it serve as a painful prelude to another heartbreak? If Iga Swiatek hoists the trophy in Ohio, the message will be loud and clear. She's still the queen of the court. And for Coco Gauff, that might be the biggest setback of all, not a physical loss, but a psychological one. Because sometimes, the hardest match isn't played on a court. It's played in the mind.